Today we are going to discuss the masters which are directly created in TM. Okay, so first one is a location master. So I'll just explain about the basics of location, and then parallelly we'll see in the system what fields are there, how we can maintain a location master. Okay, so yesterday while transferring customer, we saw that we can also transfer the customer to TM system as a location as well. So that is one way of creating location. Another way is if we can directly create a location master in TM system. So like in this screen you can see we can give any ID to the location and click on create. So this works as a create of location, and each location is having a type. So these are the types, the standard types that are available in system. So location type 1001 is production plant, 1002 is distribution center, 1003 shipping point. So all these types are associated to a location master. So one location master will be of one type. Yesterday when we created when we transferred customer master, it would have created with a location type 1010 in TM. So uh, there is some disturbances there. I think. TM is capturing only one master with respect to location master data. But there should be a differentiation that this location is a shipping point or plant or customer location, vendor location, or a hub or zone. So that differentiation is carried out through the this field location type. Okay. Okay, and the transaction code to reach to this screen is this /n/SAP/APO/LOC3. Okay. Now the next thing about location master is geocoding. So this is how a location master will look inside in the general data tab. So here we have geographical data in which we can give the longitude and latitude, and based on these coordinates only later, because this will be used to calculate the distance between two locations, these coordinates. So this has to be maintained, then only system is capable to calculate the distance between two locations based on these coordinates. Okay. Now in the same screen you are able to see there are few more codes. So these codes acts as an alternative identifier for these locations, like IATA code or UNLO code. So these are the codes. Let's say when we have created location masters, now we want to search for a location during the transaction. Okay, so at that time, either I can, if I know the location ID, I can search it based on the location ID directly. Or if I don't know location ID, but I know IATA code, let's say if it is for Bangalore, IATA code for Bangalore is BLR. Then in that case, I can search with the help of IATA code. So these fields become the alternative identifier like this. Okay, and few more screens are also added in this. So this is a path of SPRO where we can activate the change documents for location master change. So whenever you make any change in the location master, it will be logged into system, who has changed what. Okay. Now, yeah, this is also one important concept in TM. As part of transportation, we only have to deal with locations. Okay. And for a shipper, they may have fixed locations among which they are doing operations. But as a carrier or LSP, I might not have a set of all locations as master through which my vehicles are going. Let's say if I am a transporter, then I can receive order from any customer saying that you pick up the goods from this place. That will be customer place. That need not to be in my master, right? So this one-time location comes into picture at that time. So the concept of one-time location is we we come and we fill the address directly. Like in this screen, you are able to see 13th cross 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a one-time location address filling, and system automatically generates a one-time ID 3. Internal number will be generated. Whereas this location is coming from master S101. Okay. So this is one case where we are pulling the location details from the master. Second case is when we don't have master for that location and we are filling the address directly. At that time, system generates a one-time location. It won't be used in case of shippers because shippers will have their specific locations which are always created as master. So this scenario will come in picture when SAP TM is installed for a LSP or for a carrier. Okay. So as a carrier, I have a set of customers and customers are having their locations. So customer can say to me that you pick the goods from this location. They will give the address. That address might not be there in my location masters. So I can, while capturing the requirement in the source location, I can directly fill the address and system will generate a location ID. So that is the facility given while capturing the requirement. Okay. So this is about one-time location. Now next thing is transportation zones. Okay. So let's get into system to understand this. Okay. So first let's see the location that we have created yesterday. It was this 91, and you see the location type which is with which it is created is 1010 customer. So automatically system determines when we are transferring a customer and we want to transfer it as a location as well, then it will create the location with the location type customer. Okay, and address is there. So based on the address, geo coordinates will be determined. Okay, and so we can assign a business partner to a location. So that will be like one, let's say if a customer is having 10 locations, we can create the 10 locations in system and then assign the business partner to that. So this becomes a like linking locations with business partner. So this is how we can link a location with business partner. So this system doesn't have integration, but like previously, if I maintained geo coordinates for any location, then it stores those geo coordinates into buffer. So this data is updated from buffer. But in a real time, in a live system, while making these changes, when I press enter, at that time it pings the geo coordinates provider like Google Maps or something, and then it can retrieve the geo coordinates from there. So let's see now if something has changed or not. See, now this 76 and 19 are generic geo coordinates based on this country, India. So it is giving the generic result if no specific buffer is maintained in the table. But if I again make it as Bangalore, only this latitude is changed to 14 from 19. So if it is there, it will pull. If there is no integration, there is a standard table where with respect to postal codes or with respect to regions, we can maintain the geo coordinates. So currently region is 10. Now if I make it as 13, everything else remains same. Geo coordinates is changed to 19. See, longitude is same, latitude is changed to 19. Again, if I change this to 10, so it is changed to 14. So based on the region, it is stored in a table from where it is pulling the data if there is no integration. Okay, okay. So this is about locations. Now we are going to see zones. So transaction for zone is /scmtms/zone. Okay, so as the name says, zone will be a group of locations. Uh, it so there are multiple ways of maintaining zone in TM system, but ultimately it will be a set of locations. Okay, so there are three ways in which we can maintain the zone in TM system. One is zone based on location. So in this zone based on location, we add the location IDs into a zone. Okay, like if I show you a zone which was created earlier. So this TZ start 01 is a transportation zone, and it so this is the header of zone. It's like that. This header level data, and this is item level data. Okay, so in the zone we can enter the locations directly. That is one case. Let's say our location is 91 and we enter it in this. So now location 91 is existing in this zone TZ start 01. Okay, this is one way. The other way is zone created based on postal codes. Okay, currently nothing is there, but let's say if our location is having postal code 560024. So we know that all the Bangalore postal codes are starting with 56. We can create an entry here. Country will be India. Postal code 5600 012 560099. Okay. And then I click on this check button. So all the locations which are having postal code uh, in this range will fall in this zone, including these two locations if it is maintained separately. Okay. For one way is to create the zone based on location IDs. Second way is to create the zone based on postal codes. And third way is to create the zone based on region. So in the address of location, region is this state like Karnataka, Maharashtra. So we can create a zone based on region directly. So let's say India and region is 13. So this zone, all the locations which are having region 13 will fall in this zone. This is another way of maintaining the zone. Now these four ways are there. One, either we can have only based on location. Second, only based on postal code. Third, only based on region. And fourth, we can have a mix. So in this case, it is mixed because postal codes are also there, region is there, location is there. Okay. So whatever is assigned, all those will be included in that zone. Now, one more functionality is there in this. In case of location, so currently these locations are included in the zone. Okay, but there is this exclude button check as well. Let's say if I select this exclude in this case, so even though or let's say if I exclude 91 because we know the postal code and region for 91. Even though the postal codes and region of 91 is falling in the zone, but if we have excluded this location, then this location will not be considered as part of this zone. Okay. So we'll see some cases. First, let me save the data. So we can search for a location which zone is available. Okay. I can click on open advanced search and I can give the location ID here. So our location ID is, this is the location ID, and we click on advanced search. It says number of selected entries 4. Means 4 zones are available for this location. IN 10. Somebody might have created a zone with region. So this location is falling in this zone also. TZ India, TZ South 1 and TZ Start 01. Okay. Now let's select TZ Start 01 and let me delete this location. Okay, and I'll save this. Now if I, after entering this location ID, I'll click on advanced search. See, still it shows number of selected entries 4 because that location is still included in this zone on behalf of the postal code or region. In this case, we have added both, so it will be both, but it is there in the zone. But if I want to exclude it from the zone, in that case, see, currently that location 91 is not there in the zone, okay. But when we are checking zones available for this location, it is still showing that zone name. It is still showing the zone name TZ start 01 because we have maintained the postal code in this zone which belongs to this location. Okay, now if we don't want TZ start 01 to be selected, that case we can check this exclude and save the data. So now if I do advanced search, it will show me 3 entries only. Okay, so that is the use of exclude. So this is about zones. Any questions you have? So in postal code we can also give range or we can give single postal code. Let's say for this zone, I am creating an entry for postal code and I don't want to give a range. I can give a single postal code like this. So this will be only for one postal code. So like this, I can maintain n number of entries here, and there's a Excel upload program in standard which can be used to update the transportation zones. Okay, so this was about transportation zones. Now let's get back to the next topic. Okay, the next thing is organizational management. So the organizational management in TM is different than the organizational management in ECC. The difference is in terms of data maintenance. In ECC system, this organizational management is a part of configurations. It will be a customizing request to create a sales org or purchase org and then assigning the sales offices. So, but in TM system, it is a part of master data. We can directly create it in any system, be it development, quality, production. It can be directly created similar to other master data. Okay, so let's go to the system and see how it can be created. The transaction code to create a organization structure is PPOC and to maintain an organization structure is PPOME. Okay. We have created the organization structures as per the requirement in all the systems. So let's say if in production we want to maintain something, we can directly, let's say if another sales office is added, so it can directly be added as a master. We don't, in that case, yeah, that sync will be disconnected, that the organization structure of quality is same as the structure of TM. But that's how standard is designed. The reason is this only to provide the flexibility to change the data directly into live system. If we want to add some sales groups or if we want to assign users to some roles, like in this screen you can see. Okay, so this is one organization structure existing in the system. It is like first I have created a org purchase. I'll come to that. What is the purchase org or sales org? What is the forwarding house? But so this is one organization unit that was created initially. Okay, we can give an ID and name to it. Description. This is a part of basic data. Now in org data, the main properties of this organization units are assigned. So there will be a org ID. This ID will be used in the documents or wherever we have to link a business partner and an organization. This ID will be used for that. Now next thing is organization unit function. Okay, so based on the function only, it has identified that what is the role of this organization. So these are the functions available in the system: purchasing, sales, planning and execution, company, corporate, and forwarding house. Now the difference is, let's say this, if we keep it as purchasing, and the organization unit role is, there are three options: organization, office, and group. Okay, so if we make this kind of assignment here, then this organization unit becomes a purchase org. Okay, then this organization will be responsible for all the purchasing that we are doing. But if we make it as sales and organization, then this organization will behave as a sales organization. Okay, planning and execution organization is only responsible for doing the planning part of TM and doing the execution part. So if such cases are there, so this will mostly come in case of logistics service providers. This case, then company is corresponding to company code in ECC. Let's say there is a organization, and above the organization we also want to assign a company. Then we have to create it as company, and above company, corporate is for the group, and forwarding house is a organization which is capable of doing both sales as well as purchase. So if we assign in the forward, if we assign it as forwarding house, then we can use the same ID while doing the sales transaction as well as while doing the purchase transaction. Okay, so just to give a physical existence of an organization, whenever we are doing any transaction, be it for sales or purchase, we have to do it through a organization, right? This organization plays a role in that. If it is a sales organization and if we are doing a sales transaction, we have to map the sales org there, be it ECC sales order or in TM forwarding order. We have to assign the sales organization. If it is a purchase, if we are going to do the purchase, for that purchase we have to map a purchase org who is responsible for doing the purchasing. Be it the purchase order in ECC, there also we have to maintain the purchase org, or be it freight order of SAP TM, there also we have to maintain the purchase org. Okay, so that is the importance of organization in any uh, industry. Okay, so these are the two main key fields used for organization. The other fields like charges profile ID and business partner BSG org unit that will discuss later because these are relevant for uh, different concepts. So while discussing the concept, we'll discuss the existence of these fields. So these are the two key fields and ID and address is there. So in address we can maintain the address of the organization. We can relate to ECC system very well because we have worked uh, for a long time on that, and there are a lot of customers who are having products. They are selling their product, right? And for selling their product, they are they are assigning a sales org, whoever is responsible for that sales. Now, let's say in that case, products are the asset for the company, right? But let's say if I am a transporter, as a transportation company, my asset is my trucks, vehicles. It can be ships also, right? So now when I am selling the services of my truck, I don't need a ACC system in place. I cannot create a sales order because it is not a product. In TM directly I can create a forwarding order for that. Okay, so first I'll put down the difference of company code in TM and ECC. So in ECC, company code is uh, linked to the financials, right? To maintain the profit and loss, all the GL accounts, chart of accounts are linked to company code. But in TM, we don't have any finance module inbuilt. Whenever any financial transactions are recorded in ECC system only. So that's the reason. One is LSP can capture the order directly into TM, but for doing settlement and for financials purpose, they can install ECC also and they can integrate the finance module of ECC with TM. That is one way. Other way is they can create a third party tool which can be linked to the TM system. So the way we are sending the feeds from TM to ECC for finance updates, the same way these feeds can be sent to that third party system where they can maintain all the uh, like these financial transactions. Yeah. If we are not doing any financial transaction in TM system, so company code's existence is not crucial. I can run the company only based on organization also without having a company code. But if uh, if under a company, if I have different organizations, in that case, to link all those organizations to each other, I need to have a company at higher level. Right. Only in that case, company will be in picture. But if I have only one organization operating for me, then in that case, I don't need a company. So, like this is the highest one currently. So let's say if you want to keep it as company, we can make it as company organization. Because of assignment, I think this one is assigned, so it is not allowing. Okay, let's do one thing. We'll delete this assignment. So mainly there are three documents created in TM for any process. One is requirement. So requirement document, yeah. It's a the higher level group can be called as requirement. When we drill down, there are different types of documents that we'll discuss later. So it can be OTR, DTR, or forwarding order. This things comes in a requirement. Now, next thing is freight unit, which is a processing document. So this is internal document on which we'll do all the processing. And so once the processing is done and we have finalized who is going to execute this and what will be the timings, the final document, freight order, will be created. This is the final document which can be subcontracted to other carriers or can be executed directly by the LSP. So these are the three different documents. Yeah. Requirement document will not use purchase org. It can use only sales org. Planning and execution will use freight unit and freight order will use purchase org, because for freight orders we may purchase the services from other carriers. If we are executing ourselves, then in that case no purchase org is required. But if we are purchasing the services from other carriers, in that case we have to maintain the purchase org. And if we give a forwarding house, it will uh, it will hold the responsibilities of all three, with act as anything. So this is how organization is defined, and we can also, let's say now this is there. If I want to create a sub node, I can click on create. Okay, so in this purchasing group is there. Let's say if I delete it, so now to show you how we can add a organization unit or something, if whatever we want to add, we can click on create. Then it gives us two options: is line supervisor of and incorporates. So this incorporates is a position, and this inline supervisor of is a organization unit. So let's say first we want to create a position. This is a org. So for the organization, let's say we want to maintain the sales officer. Sales or procurement, we'll say forwarding. And we can also assign users to it. So whoever, so I can select this and I can click on this assign, and I can assign a user. So let's say I'll assign my user ID. So now this user is assigned to this role, and I can check that this is a head of own organizational unit. So using this thing, let's say if there are some workflows in the system to be triggered to somebody for approvals and all, those things can be done using these positions. I can say that whoever is chief forwarding officer, assign the workflow to them for approval. So today, if whoever user is assigned, let's say that user leaves the company and uh, somebody new comes in, that user ID can be mapped and everything will be rerouted. So that is the advantage of having the organization structure as a master. We can directly make these kind of changes. Okay, so this is about position. Now let's say we want to create a organizational unit like purchase org or something. purchase group. This is a organization. So under the organization, we cannot assign another organization. So this is just a text. It doesn't have any impact here. The main thing is these two fields again. So this ID is generated by default. And let's say if I again want to give organization. So it will throw error. This organization unit can only be assigned to a org unit with role company. It can only be assigned to a role company, but its role is forwarding house currently. So it is not assigning it to that. Let's say if we want to create it as a company, it will say company can only be assigned to corporate. So that is another higher level of hierarchy. But if I give purchasing or sales or forwarding house office, forwarding house can only be created as organization and purchasing group. So this can be assigned to this as well as sales office can also be assigned. So it is in ECC we have to create everything separately and then do the assignment separately. It was like that. But unlike that in TM, all the validations, everything triggers at this point only. If we are making a wrong assignment, it will validate right away. So let's say we give sales office and we can give the address in sales office. And the validity is also there. So we'll change the name as well. Okay. Same way we can also assign a purchasing group also to this. Let's say another organization will create. Okay. And the way we have created position under sales, this forwarding house, same way positions can also be created under purchasing group or sales offices. And the users can be assigned to that. We'll move on to the next master. Yeah. So the next thing will be mode and means of transport. So as this picture shows, this is the highest level of categorization, mode of transport. Under the mode of transport, there will be means of transports, and under means of transport, vehicles or resources can be assigned. So this is the hierarchy. Mode of transport can be like road, ocean, or air. Then under the mode of transport, there can be categories of means of transport. Let's say under road, uh, we have truck, rail car, and in uh, even we can differentiate trucks based on the container size, 20 feet truck and 32 feet truck. Those becomes our means of transport, and the vehicles or resources represent a unit of transportation and its capacity and planning parameters. So let's see that in system. Okay, so first thing is configuring mode of transport. So this setting is maintained in SPRO, SAP Transportation Management. Master data, transportation network, and transportation lane. So inside this, there is this defined transportation mode. Okay, so these are all standard transportation modes defined. It is just a uh, ID and text 01 road and a mode of transport category is assigned to this. Okay, so this is a simple assignment, only these three fields. If we want to default any means of transport can be assigned here, but it can be handled separately as well. Okay, so these are four main categories, transportation mode categories, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can assign any of these to the transportation mode that we define. So mostly all the transportation mode related requirement fulfills in this section. And yeah, this field main carriage represents if a mode transportation mode is always supposed to be as a main carriage. So if there are multiple legs in a transportation chain, then these legs can be defined splitted into carriages in SAP TM terms. So it is like pre-carriage, main carriage, and on carriage. These are the three main. So pre-carriage, main carriage, and on carriage are the three different terms. So I'll explain it with an example. Uh, let's say if a container is to be shipped from Bangalore to Abu Dhabi. Okay, so it will go from Bangalore to Chennai. From Chennai, it will go via some container shipping liners via ocean to, let's say, it goes to some port in near Abu Dhabi, and then from that port it goes to the customer delivery location. So these are the three different legs. These legs are categorized as Bangalore to Chennai will be called as pre-carriage. Okay. Now Chennai port to the next Middle East port will be called as main carriage. So this is that main carriage. And from the port to customer location will be on carriage. So these are the different terms, and this main carriage represents this term. So in this, if we see for transportation mode 03 C, it is considered as main carriage. Similarly, transportation mode 05 for air is considered as main carriage. So this is how we can define the transportation mode in system. Now the next thing is to define the means of transport. Okay. So under uh, under mode of transport, next is means of transport. So we'll come. So this means of transport is available under resources, transportation management, master data, resources, and then define means of transport. Okay, means of transport is a like it has so many fields. So we'll go one by one. Okay, so this is the configuration page for defining means of transport. So first thing is its ID and description can be assigned. Now next is superordinate means of transport. This superordinate will be used. Means of transports can be defined in a hierarchical way. So if let's say consider this ZTM truck as the highest one, and let's say when we are defining another means of transport, 32 feet truck, something like that, 32 MXL, 32 multi XL, something. So we want to define this 32 multi XL under ZTM truck. So in that case, when we define 32 MXL, the ZTM truck will be the superordinate means of transport. So this is the use of this field. Okay. Now the standard code is standard transportation code. If something is there for that means of transport can be assigned. So let's go through that. A coded representation according to official standard for type of means of transport. So some examples are there. Code is 6 for aircraft, 11 for ship, 31. These are industry standards, transportation industry standards, irrespective of SAP TM. So if there are some codes with respect to the means of transport can be assigned in this field. Okay. Now the next thing is transportation mode. In the previous section when we were discussing transportation modes, these transportation modes are coming from that. So to this, as this is truck, the transportation mode assigned is road to it. Okay. The next thing is resource class. So under a transportation mode, we can assign truck, we can assign trailer to a resource class as a resource class to this means of transport. So this means of transport comes under which resource class that can be differentiated based on this field. But let's say if we assign vessel, it gives error. Invalid resource class chosen for this. Okay. And the next thing is speed and distances. So we can assign the lowest speed, we can assign medium speed, high speed, average speed, distance factor. So these speeds will be used. So like we discussed earlier, how we can determine the distance between two locations. It can be determined based on the geo coordinates of the location. Now once the distance is determined, the next use of distance will be to calculate the duration. Okay. To calculate the duration, we need speed. So that speed will be pulled from the means of transport configuration, means of transport data. Okay. The next thing is distance factor. So this distance factor also again is used to calculate the actual distance and duration. So there's some example I think with the example. Based on the linear distance, you can use this factor to estimate the actual travel distance for a vehicle between two locations. And together with the average speed, you can estimate the transportation time. So this is like here, actual distance versus aerial distance. If let's say our system, whatever distance our system is proposing, if that is a aerial distance, then we can define a factor in this field. So that aerial distance can be multiplied with that factor to get the actual distance, approximate actual distance. So resource class will be assigned to mode of transport, I think. Yeah. Mhm. So these six we are able to see in that drop down, right? Okay, whatever is under vehicle resource, only that will be shown uh, while defining the means of transport. Okay. Okay. So this is about speed and distances. The next thing is multi-resource. So this multi-resource represents whether we have, let's say, for this means of transport, how many number of resources we have. It will represent that. So is it, if I uncheck this multi-resource, that means there is only one resource for this means of transport. Like if we see, again, if we come back to this triangle, mode of transport, the next level is means of transport, and the next level is vehicle resources. So vehicles and resources are assigned to means of transport. So if means of transport doesn't contain multi-resource, that means only one vehicle resource is there for means of transport. Okay. But let's say if we have multiple resources, multiple vehicle resources for this means of transport, in that case, we check this multi-resource checkbox. Okay. And the next thing is, if we check this multi-resource, these two fields get enabled, number of individual resources or unlimited number of individual resources. So we can, if there is a specific number that our company is having for the number of resources, let's say if there are 50 resources, that number can be maintained here, and there can be 50 vehicle resources assigned to this means of transport. But if there are unlimited number of resources, then we can check this one checkbox. Log multi-resource is some description is there. Okay, so this is like when uh, let's say one vehicle resource is there. So there are two planning sessions open at a time. Okay. Or let's say in our company there are two planners who are responsible for doing planning. And planning means assigning a vehicle to a order, right? So when both the planners are doing planning simultaneously, at that time, do we want to lock the multi-resources? And so it's like document locking. If one is executing, the other one should not be able to do the operations at the same time. Yeah, yeah. So this same resource for this means of transport. Any resource for this means of transport. So it is for that. If we uncheck it, then this locking will not happen, and all the planners will be able to do the planning separately at the same time. Okay. Now there are some additional properties. So passive means if we check this passive, there are two kind of resources, active and passive. Active resources are those who are able to uh, travel on their own, like a truck. And passive resources are the one which who cannot travel on their own, and they need to be linked to a active resource like trailer. So if we are defining a means of transport for trailer, in that case we can check this as passive, because this means of transport cannot travel on its own, and it needs an active resource to be assigned. So the use of this comes in a scenario where, let's say, dip, yes, yes, and the logical scenario for this will be, let's say we have 100 passive resources available for planning, but we have 10 active resources only. So at that time, while doing the planning, system can plan only 10 passive resources with these 10 active resources. Remaining 90 passive resources are like idle, cannot be done with that. Okay. Now, next is no capacity. No capacity means there are some like some trucks which have only a base where container can be put. They don't have any space where directly item can be loaded. So this is for that where no loading space is there. If any means of transport, this means no capacity. This can be checked. Then next is no direct load. So this no direct load is also same where yeah, there is a difference in no capacity and no direct load. No direct load means that case where item cannot be loaded into item cannot be loaded into the truck, but it has to be loaded somewhere in container, and container can be loaded on the truck. This is indirect loading. So in that case, this is no direct load, but no capacity will be the best example would be tractor. So it even indirectly also we cannot load anything in the tractor. The trolley has to be attached to that. Okay. Now, this side, your own means of transport. So some companies are having this process that they have a limited number of trucks. Let's say they have 10 trucks, and so the process will be if these 10 trucks are not available for transportation, then only go for subcontracting the order. Otherwise, if these trucks are available, you can plan, system can plan the order with these trucks. So this is to differentiate between own means of transport and a subcontracted means of transport. The next thing is schedule means of transport. So schedule is uh, it's a kind of master in TM system where we can maintain the details if a transportation is happening on a regular basis. Like uh, like yes. Train coming and oceans are also ocean carriers run on a schedule. So if this means of transport which we are defining is to be used in schedule, in that case we can check this checkbox. So in a schedule, when we do a search help on means of transport, only those means of transport will be shown there which are maintained as schedule. Sorry, search help in the so there is a place to maintain this periodic transportation. It's a schedule master. So in that schedule master, when we assign means of transport to it, at that time in the search help there, only those means of transport will be shown which are created with this checkbox. Then next is GIS quality. So this is to okay GIS quality. Set this indicator for if you want to make more precise calculation of duration and distances using the GIS together with IGS within a transportation link. So this is like when when our system is integrated with a GIS service provider, GIS is the same only the third party integration which I told for geo coordinates calculation. The same third party integration can be used to calculate the distances. Okay. So this distance is calculated. The duration can be deferred based on what speed we are considering for calculating the which speed we are taking to calculate the duration. If we take lowest speed, the duration will increase. If we take the highest speed, the duration will reduce. So if we check this checkbox, then only this low, medium and high speeds are considered. Otherwise, system will always consider average speed. Okay, so this is the use of this. Now, this is default means of transport. So this is to make the means of transport as default. If nothing is determined by the system, it can pull a default. There can be only one default means of transport. Determine how fuel consumption and carbon dioxide emission that results from transporting goods are to be defined. You can assign the sustainability factor to a transportation mode or means of transport. So this is to if there are some sustainability factors are maintained and we want to assign it to a means of transport or to a mode of transport. This is something related to the fuel emission classification. Like in India, it is BS3, BS4. These are the factors. So if something like that is defined in the system and we want to assign it to a means of transport, it can be assigned at this place. Okay, so this is about means of transport. Any questions in this? I'll just cover whatever we have discussed there in the slides. So this was mode of transport. Means of transport, we saw these fields: average speed, distance factor, and multi-resource, then passive, no capacity. And using this field, superordinate means of transport, we can define the means of transport hierarchies. Okay, so in this case, in this example, we can see Z truck is the highest one, okay, which doesn't have any superordinate. So this is the highest level. Now temperature control truck and standard. these two. Their superordinate means of transport is Z underscore truck. And under this temperature control truck, there are two more categories, chilled and cooled. So their superordinate means of transport is this Z temp TR. Okay. So this is about means of transport. The next is resources. So as part of master, we have covered the master of ECC, and in TM we have covered location, zone, then mode of transport, means of transport, organizations.